Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today, at the request of Patreon subscriber The Ineffable, I am playing Legacy, and this is Azorius Riddler for the post-ban world. This is the blue-white control deck built by Pokemoki. It is one that I strongly considered before Eternal Weekend United States, and now that, like every other deck, two of the deck's tougher matchups are gone, it's time to re-explore it. This deck is built around Phelia Exuberant Shepherd. That's the primary engine. The main combo is with Quantum Riddler. You warp in Quantum Riddler, you draw a card, you attack with Phelia, you blink the Quantum Riddler, it comes back, you draw a card, and it doesn't warp away. And you get a 4/6 that drew 2 cards along the way. Other combos with Phelia in the deck are Containment Priest. If you zoot out one of your opponent's creatures, it will not come back. There were 2 Containment Priests in the old list because it also was just a good card face-up versus both the Zenith builds of Nadu and, of course, Reanimator. And it is clear at this point that Reanimator is still a deck in the format. The deck did not die. In fact, Tempo Reanimator is still putting up 5-0s left and right, including on this very channel a week or 2 ago. Having Containment Priest in the main is still relevant hate versus what some people are doing. Also with Phelia, we have 2 Consigned to Memory in the main. This is just a good card versus Mystic Forge and Thassa's Oracle decks. You're happy to have it. Any One Ring deck as well, that's Red Stompy, that's the Blue Cloud Post decks. This is just your best weapon and it's in the main deck. And it works with Phelia. You can blink out one of your opponent's creatures and then counter the trigger that brings it back. Or you can warp in Quantum Riddler and then counter the warp trigger in your end step, so the Riddler stays. Utilizing these main deck sideboard cards in ways that also feed your own plan is kind of the brilliance of this deck. And then around all that, there is a blue-white control deck, Swords of Plowshares, Prismatic Ending. We love those. We get to be a back-to-basics deck. There's a lot of greedy mana bases in the format right now. Because of the draw engine with Quantum Riddler, the deck can support 5 main deck forces. And, of course, we're a TAMIYO deck, because why wouldn't we be if we have blue mana? Being a blue-white deck with TAMIYO and Phelia also gives us Karakas as a powerful weapon, which can help control opposing TAMIYOs or Atraxas or whatever they got, while also protecting our own TAMIYO and Phelia from removal spells. In the previous format, I was talking to Pokemoki about how to get the second Narset into the main, because flickering your Planeswalkers with Phelia is also nuts. Just bounce something with Teferi or find a card with Narset every turn, and then flicker it, and it's back at full loyalty in your end step. That was an extremely powerful interaction, and chaining together cards with Narset, keeping the action flowing so you don't run out of cards, was one of my concerns with the deck. And with less Nadu in the format, we were able to cut one of the 3 dress downs from the main, get Narset into the main, who was in the sideboard, and that opened up more sideboard slots. This is a deck I like a lot. Maybe too much, I'll be honest. My predilections for how I like to play Magic draw me to decks like this, even if they're not necessarily the most powerful thing I can do. But my record with this deck is quite good. I have a Moto Trophy. I think I 4-1'd the other video I did with it, and I top 8'd the Legacy Cup at MagicCon Atlanta with this deck, and that was all in the old format. Let's see how it holds up in the new one, where things are a little slower, a little fairer, and theoretically, this deck has a little more time to cook. I'm on the draw in round 1. This hand is, it's a full house, but it's a full house where half of the hand is guaranteed to be bad. There's almost no matchups where Swords to Plowshares and Consigned to Memory are both good, and even if I knew what my opponent was on, I would know that I was keeping half a hand. I'm going to mulligan this. Also, it's a 1-lander. I'm not stoked about that. This one, however, is the cat's ass. I'm going to keep it. I think so. My options are bottom Back to Basics as a card that may or may not be good in the matchup. Plus, I'm holding 2 of the 4 basic lands, non-basic lands that I play. Or I could bottom one of the non-basic lands, try to get TAMIYO Brainstorm to a spot where I have basics and Back to Basics is still good. I'm going to bottom Back to Basics as just the most suspicious card. Oh, good. It's Oops All Spells. My format knowledge is not going to pass this check. Holding out hope that this is Black Saga Storm or something a little more interesting. Doesn't look like it, though. All right, well, I'll take a look at their list and then go to the sideboard for more format knowledge. Right, we've got 4 Narcomoebas, and I've noticed that that usually means there's no Poxwalkers. There's different ways to build the deck these days. Thassa's Oracle confirmed. Cabal Therapy. Dread Return is there. Pact of Negation means I don't need to respect a creature juke very much. Okay. Deceased. Yeah, Oops All Spells, I mean, much has been said about this. I don't need to hit it too hard, but this is a deck that was creeping under the surface for the last several ban update announcements, and a lot of folks, myself included, don't think it's good for the format. But the win rate wasn't there to take action on it because it was really bad versus Nadu and Reanimator, but those are gone. And with Reanimator gone, there are fewer graveyard hate cards in the format. All those things are true. I've been playing against Oops All Spells a lot in leagues. I haven't lost to it yet in the post-ban world. Maybe it still just sucks, which would be great. But people are out here playing it, and you got to respect it. Okay, white removal, bad. Anti-graveyard hate, sideboard cards, good. Blue cards are inherently good. Like, even though back to basics, I'm probably not going to cast, just having critical blue material to pitch to force is good. Stern Scolding can hit all of the payoffs in their deck. Clarion Conquer is interesting because it hits half their mana, Belcher, and Undercity Informer, but it doesn't do anything versus Balustrade Spy. It's also a 3-drop. Do I have room for this? I kind of want it. I could cut Caracas. In 20 lands is plenty to play Magic with, and there's no legends I need to bounce in this matchup. Though, they are not going to attack my mana in any way. So Caracas is probably just a better Plains. I'm unlikely to play this back to basics. It's here as a blue card, or as something I can brainstorm away. Celestial Purge could hit anything they happen to put into play, but I don't expect anything to be in play long enough for that to matter. Alright, let's go. And with 2 Dress Down, 2 Consign, and Containment Priest in the main, we are kind of stacked against Oops. But that only matters if you get a turn. Alright, I'll keep my hand. Right, this hand has to use Force of Will to get a turn, and then when I get a turn, Containment Priest becomes excellent. I'm not casting Brainstorm anyway, so I'll just get my Surveil paid out here. Right, that's another blue card for my other force, which means I can pitch Brainstorm with confidence if I have to force this turn. Fellmire, Chrome Mox. Pitching an Undercity Informer is scary. That means they have multiple payoffs. There's the other one. Force that, pitching Brainstorm. Okay. Successfully interacted with that. I'm untapping with Containment Priest and another force. There is some argument to playing Containment Priest on my turn so they can't Pact of Negation it, but they clearly don't have Pact of Negation, or they would have played it. Goblin Charbelcher, alright. Had the follow-up, so did I. And now I will play out the Priest who can apply pressure to them while cutting off all but 3 cards in their deck. Yo, alright. Another layer. This does show them what sideboard cards I have, but I am going to pile it on here. I'm taking no risks versus this shit. I'm all in. Opponents at 12, they have to kill me with Charbelcher, which means they have to draw 1 of 3 cards in their deck, plus a mana source, before I find a way to interact with it. I am going to hold back this island, because Brainstorm is a card in my deck. 4th mana is bad. That means Belcher's live, if they draw 1. I will play out Caracas, I guess. I'm still not, like, good here. I'm ahead, but... Okay, now I'm good. This cuts off the Chrome Mox, cuts off the Belcher, and kills them a turn faster. Alright, I don't think they can win anymore. I guess if they have, like, a random Barrogoyf, that might play. Or no, I have Rest in Peace. I don't even care about Barrogoyf. We've got it all. Okay, cool. Format knowledge demonstrated. Back to the sideboard. Am I going to change anything? No, I'm already respecting Belcher. Now everything's harder because these Flusterstorm, Misstep, Consign, Stern Scolding cards in my deck don't function until I get at least 1 turn. Priest is they get 2 shots before Priest is down instead of 1. But I mean, these are still the cards that I have. Does Sanctifier and Beck do what I want? Yes, it takes out Dread Return. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I just had to remind myself if Sanctifier and Beck, like, would that be better as any blue card? And the answer is no. Well, this is a mulligan. Opponent kept 7. Hate that for me. This hand is good if I get a turn, but I probably won't if they kept 7. I'm going to go to 5. All right. Double force. We got to keep it. I guess I bury the island and dress down. Okay. Let's play. Academe. Thoughtseize. Disappointing. All right, well. It resolves. They can't take me off force with this Thoughtseize. I got it one way or another. They might take something like Consign, because that gives me 2 answers with 1 mana. Or they could take the Brainstorm and just try to navigate the information they know without me being able to change it. Like Force of Will is out, sure. Another Beastorm. Duress. Alright, go nuts. Giving them 2 cards off Duress when they're likely to take one of those cards anyway. Yeah, like if I had forced the Duress, they would have also gotten Force, but then it would be gone. I have to end step Brainstorm just for velocity. I got to try to hit like land plus lock piece here. I like TAMIYO. I put back Phelia, TAMIYO. Play TAMIYO. This might be the turn that I am deceased. We'll find out together. I don't think that's the Consign. Yeah, the problem is if they actually get, if they have Undercity Informer, if they have Belcher or Balustrade Spy, I can interact with those things. Right, well, I've officially had this shit beaten out of me by Thoughtseize. Should I Brainstorm in response? I mean, I'm dead anyway if they have Ascend after Thoughtseizing. So I will Brainstorm, flip TAMIYO, hide the Consign. Okay. Riddler, Consign on top of the deck. TAMIYO flips, you get Phelia. Hope you don't have 4 mana plus payoff right now. Right, plus TAMIYO, who can buy back a spell next turn. Riddler could have drawn 2 cards here, but I kind of want to be able to kick Consign. That's actually important. All right, Riddler, draw 2 cards. TAMIYO, put Force of Will back in my hand. Let's just start covering bases. Hit a land drop, which means I can cast Quantum Riddler next turn. They don't know the card that I have isn't blue. All right, the wall of Thoughtseizes was not enough. So now they're back to sculpting, and so am I. I need one of my bangers. Phelia is not what I'm looking for here. I want blue cards or I want lock pieces. Quantum Riddler. That is a blue card. Is it better as a blue card or as a random card? It is probably better as a blue card. TAMIYO can minus and put another force in my hand next turn as long as I'm not dead. My next land, I could play the Riddler from Warp and still have Consign up. Okay, another turn pass. They're at 7 cards in hand. All right, Flooded Strand. This lets me play Riddler with Force Consign up, but I can't kick the Consign, if that matters. That sometimes matters. I think I'm going to play the Riddler from Exile. Do we need double white? I do have Sanctifier in my deck, but I have a Tundra in my hand, so I'll play this Riddler. Yo, big rips. Okay. I think TAMIYO's done her job. I would like another Force of Negation in my hand. So my hand is Force or Force Consign plus Very Macabre. And they're under real pressure now. 8 cards in hand. Is it time to send? Are we going to go to cleanup? Are we just going to Lotus Petal pass? What do we got? All right, 4 mana confirmed. The things their deck wants to do are operational. Cabal Ritual resolves. Undercity Informer. Okay. If I Force of Will pitching Quantum Riddler on this, that is my answer that I'm holding to that card specifically. And if they want to have a showdown over this, or if they have a second send, okay, Pact resolves. Okay, now they're all in, and I'm going to use Consign and Macabre to win. Because they have to pay for that Pact next turn. They know about the Consign, so they must have a plan to beat it. They don't know about the Macabre. I'm going to fetch in response here, get a Tundra, and then the thing happens. I think if I Macabre their Thassa's Oracle, nothing matters here. Because even if they have a Memory's Journey, which I don't even see, getting a second turn, at what point do I interact? It doesn't matter, I guess is the question. You know what? You can have your Narcomoebas. Have fun with those. Is there anything else to dread return? No. I don't want to feel like I'm slow rolling my opponent. I just really want to make sure I don't mess this up because I'm pretty sure I have it. All right, Fairy Macabre can exile Thassa's Oracle, and oh, this is actually super interesting. Hold on. No, it's not that interesting. I think Fairy Macabre just checks them no matter what. Thassa's Oracle is going to go, and I guess I'll take Cabal Therapy. Okay, they've not conceded. There's not a second Oracle, is there? Did I blow that somehow? All right, I don't see a second Oracle. They've got 4 Narcomoebas in play. They can dread return something, but there's not like a juke creature in the graveyard. They have a pack to pay for, and we did it. Remain undefeated, demonstrating significant format knowledge over all Oops All Spells players since the ban. We got to keep these weirdos from creeping back into the format. Bring your graveyard hate. Don't forget your Fairy Macabres, your Surgicals. Graveyard decks are still out there. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TAMIYO has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2. I like my hand. It's got a good spread of answers for different sort of questions. On the play, I would feel untouchable here, but that's fine. Sometimes you lose the die roll. Polluted Delta. Wish I could minor misstep that Thoughtseize, or that Dark Ritual, but I mean, having Consigned to Memory in my main deck is pretty nice here. Yeah, on the play, minor misstep would have checked the Dark Ritual. If they interact with that, that's interaction they don't have for Consign. On the play, I can also kick the Consign. Yeah, I think I am going to lose this game. It depends on how quick they make their pile. Like, if their pile just sends next turn, and they have even a daze to help protect it, I'm cooked. If they have a 2-turn pile, I think I'm okay. Like, they don't know what I'm on. I could be a Chalice of the Void deck. I could be a Wasteland deck. I could be an equally fast combo deck. They don't know that they're building a pile versus a blue-eye control deck right now, which is my out. My out is that A, their hand isn't force blue card, and B, that they build a slow, safe pile. 49 cards have gone to exile. I see 3 Force of Wills. Just check that one of them is in a different art. Having 3 Force of Wills of this, like, full art, Richard Kane Ferguson, very visible thing, and then one other one to hide it in your Doomsday pile would be diabolical. See, daze. All right, so I suspect there's a Force and a daze between their hand and pile. That won't be trivial to defeat. I'm gonna Island Pass here. I want them thinking about blue cards. Undercity Sewer. That could be great news for me. It dumped a Thassa's Oracle. So they're saying they've got 2 Oracles and that one's covered already, or they have Reanimate in their pile. Cycling Edge of Autumn. All right, yeah, if they Reanimate right now with Force backup, they just win. Unearth. All right, yep, minor misstep. Try for the best, though. I think I'm about to get dazed. Force, pitching, what? Consider. Okay. Well, you win. There are 2 cards in the deck. Yep, just play draw. The tools were here, but didn't have time to deploy them. Consigned to Memory, Flusterstorm coming in. Doomsday can be a TAMIYO deck these days. There's not even a lot of sideboard for this because we have Consigned, Stress Downs, Missteps, Scoldings, like all of these things interact so well with their deck. But you do need time to deploy it, even if it's not much time, but you do need literally any time to make it happen. A Containment Priest doesn't actually, or well, we literally just lost to Unearth. Containment Priest also gives me the out that if they pivot into Barrow-Goyfs or Murktide regions, I'm not ice cold against that. I hate having 4 Swords to Plowshare still in the deck, but none of these cards in the sideboard actually matter. And I could YOLO a Surgical Extraction if I win a counter war over one Doomsday and can take the rest of the Doomsdays out. That's fine. I guess this also plays against that reanimate pile that they just built. It's probably better than Four Swords to Plowshares, even though I don't broadly approve Surgical Extraction as a card versus Doomsday. All right, let's go. A one-lander with TAMIYO Brainstorm. Dress down is here. I do like that. All right, I'm going to keep... Opponent is down to 5 cards. And I'm going to play TAMIYO. We're in there. Finding my land's is going to be pretty important. Ponder. Love that. Shuffle the library. Love that too. On the mull to 5, you always have to be afraid of just the Ritual Doomsday Days bullshit. And I have spiked a land. Do I want to develop Phelia this turn? Threaten Dress Down, or just Brainstorm to flip TAMIYO? I think I want to develop Phelia. Their life total does matter in this matchup. It matters a lot. End step fetch. Have to get a plains to do what I want to do, even though most of what I want to do in this matchup is blue. And literally anything they spend interaction on. If they daze this Phelia, if they force this Phelia, if they fatal push this TAMIYO while I'm tapped out, all of this is just cards that are not things I have to worry about anymore. Orcish Bowmaster deployed. Okay, you got it. I can delete the Orc army while attacking here. Force of Will's in. Attack with my creatures, flicker out Orc army, which means it's gone forever. Or at least until I crack one of these clues, which might happen sooner than later. Force of Will is a great pickup. Lotus Petal resolves. I am going to crack a clue in the end step, assuming nothing else changes that information. Especially now that they attacked. Now Phelia can get extra rowdy. Okay, Force of Will pitching back to basics on this. I don't need to cast that card this game. It's very good at being blue. Force pitching Daze. Do I think they can win right now? Not from one card now. All right, I will draw a card with my clue. See if I spike a force. Didn't happen. That's fine. All right. You got it. You've got a Doomsday. I've got a Dress Down. If I draw a force, I do have room to deploy this to Fairy. If I don't, then I don't. And it's that simple. Hitting the land is nice, though. Always happy for that. There is a cool play optional here. I'm not going to do it. I just want to talk about the interaction because it could matter in a different style of game. If I attack with Phelia, target the Orc army to get flickered, and then Brainstorm, my opponent will still get to put 3 damage wherever they want, but they won't have a 4/4 army because that will resolve first, and then the 4/4 will blink out. That is a way that if, I don't know, if it was like a close game versus Dimir Tempo where you really needed to resolve Brainstorm to find some action, that is a way you could do it without leaving a 4/4 behind. All right, assessing the situation. Barrogoyf is in here. I see 3 dazes plus the one that was already pitched to force. I see force, 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 force. All the forces are here. All right, forces and dazes are all accounted for. I should probably count Thoughtseizes as well. I count 3 Thoughtseizes and a Duress. There's also lots of Barrogoyfs here. At least 3 of them. Stern Scolding was a huge rip because that is another way I can counter Thassa's Oracle. I flicker out the Orc army, put my opponent to 6. And this is why I like developing that Phelia. With their life total this dubious, they don't have infinite time to work through a slow pile. Lion's Eye Diamond, okay. End of turn. Can they go off at instant speed? I don't think so. All right, I am going to draw a card with a clue. Flusterstorm. That helps versus the Thoughtseize that may or may not be left in their pile. And then I'm going to get my Meticulous Archive. A land would be great here. It's just more things. Does this actually cast spells? All right, I said a land would be great, but that might not be true. Not this land. Everything I want to do is blue. Yeah, the Dress Down is the only colorless thing. Plains actually doesn't increase my ability to cast spells unless I want to play Teferi and rely entirely on Stern Scolding, but I don't. All right, Plains to the graveyard. An island would be a good draw. Not a Plains. Yeah, yeah. Have faith. Be rewarded. Now I can Dress Down Stern Scolding Flusterstorm. And at some point they're going to have to block with this Orcish Bowmaster or just die. There it goes. Now Brainstorm is unlocked. I can't tap out into Teferi, or tap low into Teferi, because Cavern of Souls beats me there. Float a black, cycle Street Wraith, discard a Barrowgoyf. That must have just been in their hand the first time around. Jace Wielder. Well, that does beat everything I'm doing. They've played around Dress Down extremely well here. Uh-oh. Alright, well, I guess I have to brainstorm and find an answer to this thing. Yeah, this beats everything I was doing. Shit, I've lost. I've lost! No! I have one more out here, which is to crack a clue and get there. Alright, TAMIYO flips. Fetch. Tundra. Yeah, this Jace Wielder business. Great tech. Yeah, I have Dress Down and Consign, Flusterstorm, Sturt's Golding in my hand, and they're just going to beat me through all of it. That's awesome. And this is a replacement effect. It doesn't get consigned. Well played, opponent. Great pile. I thought I had that one for sure, but LED into Jace Wielder is pretty spicy. LED normally indicates a fast pile, or at least an all-in pile, and Jace is usually in slower, more stable piles. It's really cool that my opponent hybridized both of those items that exist in those two disparate plans to make a plan that actually threaded all of this. And Doomsday players are awesome. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3. I am going to keep Island. What is this island? Final Fantasy Island has a building in it. That's cool, I guess. We got the old TAMIYO Brainstorm combo. Oh yeah. We're at the correct level of respect for TAMIYO around here. Just put yourself on the draw to daze it. Okay. I am now functionally on the play for mana development purposes, but I don't have a TAMIYO in play. A swamp. Another Goyf. Okay, Dimir Tempo is the name of the game. You can't daze with a swamp, so I'm just going to cast this Brainstorm before making my land drop. This is a matchup where you want white cards, and I'm looking at a lot of blue ones. I think Force of Negation can go away. Consign to Memory, does this do anything in this matchup? Not really. Do I want 5 lands? Also not really. If I'm going to keep one of these bad blue cards, would I rather have Force or Consign? Probably Consign. Okay, I will put those things back. And I'm going to play Flooded Strand with the intent of fetching Meticulous Archive. This is going to be one of those games where we just draw Swords to Plowshares or we don't. Island's back. Orcish Bowmaster is on the menu now. I consider just main phasing a second Brainstorm. Alright, well, if Op's going to just run it out there, let's fire it. It's not getting better, and my hand is trash. Good news, everyone. Okay, this Consign can go away now, and Prismatic Vista on top. TAMIYO can block. We've got block power TAMIYO. We've got Narset who will die immediately if deployed. If I Brainstorm on my opponent's turn, they can't kill TAMIYO with Brainstorm, with Bowmaster. They still get a 4/4 army, which I don't love. I mean, I'm not just going to cast Narset into a board position where she dies, so I'll pass here. I probably will block with TAMIYO and then Brainstorm here. Wasteland found a great place to live, unfortunately. Who do I block? Oh, Fatal Push. Opponent's timing is really good here, because now if I Brainstorm, they can't kill TAMIYO, but they do deal trillions of damage to me in combat. Alright, I'm going to Brainstorm in response and hope they don't know how this works. If they put their damage targets on TAMIYO, they'll just fizzle, which is great. But if they just put it on me and do an extra 6 damage this turn, bad news all around. And my Flooded Strand had to get Tundra to cast the first Brainstorm. My Prismatic Vista had to get Island to cast this Brainstorm. I've been forced into not fetching any white this game. Okay, the Bowmaster triggers are on the stack. Opponents played this game pretty well so far. Yeah, they're just going face. They know how this works. Right, TAMIYO flips. I take lots of damage. Fatal Push fizzles. I'm at 5. That's not a high life total for those keeping track at home. Plus TAMIYO. Fetch planes go to 4. I have to Prismatic Ending the Orc Army or I just die. And if they have Force of Will, I am dead anyway. Okay. The game continues. I am at 3 on the board. If Nethergoyf gets any bigger, or if Kaito gets involved. If Kaito's involved, I'm dead. That's exactly 4 damage. Ponder. Okay, there's no Kaito, but that does add a sorcery to their graveyard. So now they can attack for 2. Did not shuffle Ponder. And 2 damage gets through. I am now, as they say, Dobbs. If TAMIYO gets back Prismatic Ending, I could deal with Nethergoyf, but then I can't fetch or do anything for the rest of the game. But Bowmaster might have to attack TAMIYO. Okay. I'm going to get back Prismatic Ending. I'm going to end Nethergoyf. I'm going to play Windswept Heath, and then I'm going to pass. They have to decide here whether to attack me down to 1 where this fetch land doesn't work, or kill TAMIYO, or they could play another Bowmaster and just win. Okay. Yeah. Opponent played all of their cards really well that game. Just the timing of everything. Like, if they let me get to blocks with that TAMIYO, I would have had 3 more life to work with there. If they hadn't main phased the Bowmaster, I would have developed white mana earlier. Like, that was just... Other players could have lost that game with the same cards, is what I'm saying. And you got to take note when that stuff happens. All right. The sideboard business here. White cards in. Like we saw that game, I was flooded with irrelevant blue cards when Swords to Plowshares would have completely stabilized the game. Containment Priest is never blank because of Phelia, but I'm bringing in all this other stuff that does similar things. Minor Missteps, Stern Scolding, great. Plow's great. Dress Down, good against Kaito, and it can make Goyf's little. Force of Wills. We've got Flusterstorm I can bring in for 1-for-1 interaction. Probably want 1 Wrath of the Skies, not 2. Because this doesn't actually get good until I have 4 or 5 mana in play, and I don't want my hand gummed up with these. 1 Force in case it's good, 1 Back to Basics in case it's good. This works for me. Let's do it. Okay, keep. This hand is kind of soft Wasteland, but also not really. I'm just going to lead on Meticulous Archive. Or, no, I'm not leaving up Flusterstorm anyway. I would cast Ponder if I played my untapped land, so I'm just going to play Archive. And I would love to just see a basic land, and we do. Okay. Now I really don't care about Wasteland. Underground Sea, TAMIYO. I can delete this TAMIYO. Prismatic End it. This gets around days. I could Fluster a Force. I'd be a little surprised if there were forces in their deck still. And I think I want to go for the Ponder now. Leaving up Flusterstorm for Thoughtseize is not bad. Ugh. I actually don't want this island, but I do want the Plow. So I will do it like this. Draw the island. The Plow's safely on top of my deck. I'm good on lands for the rest of time. And play Prismatic Vista. That could Flusterstorm or Swords to Plowshares, and then stick the Mighty Sanctifier in Beck. So blanks, Barrowgoyfs, and Nethergoyfs forever. Yeah, you better force that shit. Alright. I am going to Fluster. If I have a chance at a 2-for-1, I will take it. That Force pitched a Daze. Yeah, the Great Wall of Sanctifiers in play now. This also passively makes Murktide a lot harder to deploy. They can play Bowmaster, but they can't attack or block with it, and they can't kill Sanctifier with it. Dump Daze into the graveyard. TAMIYO, that one's good. Deck, please. All right, my next fetch will be for basic planes anyway. Can I afford to get cooked? Can I afford to get not to? Yeah, we are just... Oh, wait, if they Brainstorm, I'll just attack TAMIYO for 2. This works either way. Cool. All right, in. And if they have a land, they could play a 5/5 Murktide Regent, which is not something I currently have an answer to. And is, in fact, the scariest thing they have. Right, Barrowgoyf. I'm just going to have to leave Sanctifier back to block that forever. Barrow and Nether. Goyf theme deck, unloaded. 1 card left in their hand. Swords to Plowshares, love that. I'm going to plow Barrowgoyf. play a fetch, and just park. I don't want to get in a damage race with them. I want to get in a card advantage fight with them. Using the plow that aggressively, I could have just taken 2 from Nethergoyf for a while and then save plow for a Murktide. But I also don't want to F around and find out too much versus Barrowgoyf. I am going to play out extra lands here. That makes Brainstorms I draw worse, but makes Quantum Riddlers I draw better. 2 Undercity Sewers. That's interesting in tempo. Normally there's only 1. Dumping Force of Negation. So that's interesting. I was like, I'm not even sure. Oh my god. This won't work very often, but I'll take it while I can get it. That does currently have 2 power. Oh, I was speculating if they even have Force of Wills in their deck anymore, and there's a Force of Negation, so that's really interesting. Oh, okay. Speaking of interesting, not a card I put a lot of stock into versus decks that can win with 1 minute mana and play 2 basics, but if I can slowly squeeze them because they haven't played around it. The hooks are getting in. Their black creatures are bad. Their Murktide's a little worse. Their lands die when they tap them. Here goes Brainstorm at the cost of a land forever. But I really have nothing going on. If they stick a Murktide here, it will be 6/6. And even though they'll be almost out of mana to play the game with, or it's 7/7 because of the Brainstorm. Okay, they are starting to push around the Sanctifier. I just need, like, anything here. Narset, let's play. Narset big digs into the deck. Dress down Prismatic Ending Swords to Plowshares. Dress down nerfs both Goyfs for a turn, but also makes the Sanctifier temporarily killable. I'm just going to end one of the Goyfs. All right, they don't want to play anymore. Cool. And that was the prison side of the deck kicking in. Just the make one of your plans a little worse with Sanctifier. Make one of your plans a little worse with Back to Basics. Make your cantrips worse with Narset. And eventually they just run out of stuff to do. That was nice. Okay. I like my configuration. I'm going back in. And Rest in Peace is in for the same reason Sanctifier is. Like, if you have Rest in Peace in play, Orcish Bowmaster and Kaito become their only win conditions, because I mean, if they get to 7 mana to cast a 3/3 Murktide Regent, good job, you did it, I guess. But that's not realistic, and then all the Goyfs are just 0/1s. No white cards, but I do like my mana. I like having Tamiyo. I will keep the hand. Oh, they've got a Tamiyo. What's that like? I don't know. I will play a Tamiyo of my own. All right, we've both got them. They went first, though. My deck's probably better at answering a flip Tamiyo than theirs is, but their deck is better at protecting the flip Tamiyo. Ponder. That's not Brainstorm. Shuffled the Ponder. Ooh, missing the land drop. So they got 6 spells in their hand, which I don't love, but I do love that I get to crack a clue first with Tamiyo. And I'm holding Narset, who is one of my ways to neutralize a flip Tamiyo. I had a game at MagicCon Vegas where I had Rest in Peace plus Narset in play, and my opponent had a Tamiyo at like 22 loyalty or something, because it just had no relevant modes. Ponder, I guess you can do that. Didn't shuffle, so they're going to have a land here. This Misty Rainforest cannot fetch Basic Swamp, which is something they have to think about after getting back to basics in game 2. Basic Plains. Cracking the Clue is better than Surveilling here. It's just a card in my hand versus half a card of selection. Oh, that's fascinating. I could cook all their clues right now, or I could just send a shot at their Tamiyo. Do I need double white? I'm not going to Wrath this turn, so no. This does not destroy Planeswalkers. Artifact, creature, enchantment. So that's something I have to think about too. Okay, I am going to play Prismatic Vista, because I'd rather fetch an island this turn. This actually can't get white mana, which is fine, because I'm not using white mana this turn. Or not using 2 white. I am going to Prismatic End the Tamiyo, force the action on the Brainstorm if they've got it, and force it to die if they don't. And if they had Brainstorm, I would have Dress Downed in response. And then that prompts a Daze. Basic Swamp unlocked. Okay, so Thoughtseize, yeah. I don't have meaningful interaction for this. They get to take a poke at my handful of 4 reasonable cards. And then I get to draw a card with Clue in the end step, and we play on. So Thoughtseize plus Fetch does represent Murktide here. I think I would Dress Down if they play Murktide. It would come in as 3/3. There was a Magic Online bug a couple weeks ago where that didn't work right, which I hope has been resolved. Explosives for 1. Okay. That is certainly a card you can play. I'm going to draw a card with Clue in the end step. Brainstorm. That's nice. Okay. Now I'm in Insano mode because they cannot use Engineered Explosives because they only have 1 mana. And Wrath of the Skies for 0 kills both their Clues and EE while missing my TAMIYO. Okay, back to basics. They've played around it. I'll put that away. And I want this Wrath. I basically want all the other cards in my hand. I could fetch away this plane, or put away this Plains, then just fetch it back and play on with a handful of spells. I'm into that. All right. TAMIYO flips, plus it immediately. I lose out on a Clue by making this play, but this play is really good. So I'll live. Wrath of the Skies for 0, playing around Daze. And if this is worth a Force Will to them, I'll take the 2 for 1. Deal. Like I said, I'll take the 2 for 1. And then I guess I just ponder here because we're hanging out. Riddler, Scolding. All right, I'll put Riddler in my hand, Scolding on top. Pass. They have to pop EE this turn cycle, which means they're really only playing on 1 mana here. Because if they give me even 1 main phase priority to minus TAMIYO, she's already been worth all the additional cards in addition to the Clues she's already been worth. Yep. Another Goyf is in. They know I have a Dress Down, which can make that a tiny baby. I'm going to Prismatic Ending the Nether Goyf. I just don't want to get Kaito'd. Just really, really not interested in getting Kaito'd. I'll play TAMIYO, and I think I'd rather leave up Dress Down or Clue Token than Riddler. Those are kind of the same thing, except Riddler gets dazed. Brainstorm is fine. By waiting with the Clue, this also leaves up Stern Scolding in case they have a Bowmaster. This is not going to hit Goyfs at this point. And unfortunately, there's not like a cool thing where like Dress Down only affects creatures that are in play. It's not like playing Dress Down would turn Barrow Goyf on the stack from 5/6 into 0/1 and then I could Stern Scold it. It's fun to imagine, but that's not actually just how the game works at all. 2 cards left in hand, cracking a Clue without shuffling Brainstorm, which means they found juice that they like. Gas in the tank, as they say. Fatal Push, yep, nothing I can do would save that. So I will just let it happen and crack my Clue. That first TAMIYO getting her 5th or 6th card worth of advantage here. And it's time to jam Narset. Have they been floating a Force and go Hellbent here, or are their Clues garbage for the rest of the game? I'm happy with either outcome. Rest in Peace to my hand, 3 lands to the bottom. Rest in Peace means Murktide and all Barrow Goyfs don't matter for the rest of the game. 3 cards over there. What do you got? This is the phase of the game where I kind of regret shuffling away that 5th land earlier, but like also, what do you want me to do? I needed spells at the time. They are representing Force of Negation, a card that we know is in their deck, or we have at least seen in their deck at some point in sideboarded games. All right, Rest in Pieces. A lot of the things I was worried about, I am now no longer worried about. And I'm going to spend this turn setting up Phelia or playing around Bowmaster. And I guess like Fatal Push, Force of Will are all online here, but I got a handful of spells and a Riddler that likes me having no spells in my hand. It always sucks getting dazed on turn 8, but start flushing it out. Let's go. They just have nothing and they don't want to play. Cool. Yeah, game 1, blue-white deck problem. Drew the blue cards when I need white cards. Then go to the sideboard, board out all the blue cards, bring in more white cards. Easy game. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Receivables has it at youtube.com/TheReceivables. I'm on the play in round 4. I'm going to keep. This hand is definitely better versus combo than it is versus anything fair. But minor misstep on the play. Brainstorm to find my next lands. Riddler to refuel when I get there. All good stuff. Careful study. All right, we're playing against Reanimator. I'm going to minor misstep this because that's beautiful. Force pitching Atraxa. I'm going to force pitching to Fairy on the careful study. That was clearly important to them. Can I hit the land and be free? Oh, yeah. I'm actually going to brainstorm first because then Meticulous Archive could help me clear it. And I think I am going to want Swords to Plowshares this game. The Force Blue card's good too. All right, I am going to bin one of the plows here. At the time I'm recording this, the air quotes stock, if there is a stock, oh god, version of Reanimator plays 2 Wastelands. Wow, look at this shit. What a showdown we've had here today. Okay, they're going to have 2 cards left in their hand. They pitched an Atraxa to Force. They did still have an Archon. I am not out of the woods here, but I do get to Riddler with condition met. Okay, I can plow an Archon if the last card in their hand is Reanimate, which there's a good chance of because that's probably why they kept the hand. Reanimate Archon. I could play around Daze. Like, playing around Daze is not casting Plow. Playing around Force is casting Plow, but they've forced twice already. Okay, and we're back. We're back! My hand is bad, though, so I need something to do. Another Riddler would be insane. Just lands to cast the first Riddler I wouldn't complain about. Ooh. All right, I am going to brainstorm here. I'm going to push the advantage. Force of Will, Stern Scolding, Plow, Fetch. I think I want Plow, Fetch here. And I definitely want Fetch. I'm trying to get to this Riddler that's over here in Warp. And right now, what I'm worried about their deck doing is playing TAMIYO. All right, the Surveil lands start coming. There are 5 to 7 monsters in these shells these days. 2 of them are already in exile. The Atraxa that they pitched to Force and the Archon that I plowed. Oh, do we have a Murktide in this build? That's cool. Oh, glad I kept the plow. I'm just going to end step this. Got it. Fetch. Get a Plains. Come on, deck. Brainstorm, fire it. Okay. Does Consign to Memory matter versus blocking down the land? How badly do I want to play around Daze, I guess is a question. All right. I am going to put Windswept Heath into play with Island on top of my deck. I could play around Daze by casting Quantum Riddler next turn. And 2 forces spent already. No Daze is accounted for. This card's important enough that I am going to draw the Island and play around Daze. Fetch. Get the other planes. Play the Island. Play the Riddler with a draw 2. It would cost them 2 cards to force this. I don't know where they would have room for Orcish Bowmaster in the shell, so I'm just not going to even think about that. Ooh, Petty Theft. Okay, so this is terrible long-term for them because they just gave me Riddler that's just going to draw more cards over and over again, but it stopped me from drawing 2 cards and having a 5/6 right now. And if they have Thoughtseize, like Thoughtseize Reanimate would fuck me up, not going to lie. But I do have Teferis in my deck. Well, I have 1 Teferi left in my deck that could bounce the Riddler back to me. Phelia flickering their Riddler out would bring it back to my side. I have counterplay versus that, but they've got a lot of life and they're looking at a lot of cards right now. Yeah, there it is. That's the one I didn't want. Oh, they Thoughtseize themselves, putting Atraxa into the graveyard when I have recently drawn the card Caracas. All right, well, check this shit out. I'm going to play Teferi. I'm not going to use them yet. I'm going to warp Quantum Riddler. I'm going to draw 2 cards. And I am going to plus Teferi because there's a good chance I could draw 2 cards off of him in the future. The Caracas is part of why this deck is constructed the way it is. I mean, there are probably wastelands in their deck somewhere, probably not 4. It's also, it might just be fine for them to cycle a reanimate to see a million cards. Oh, that's so much more fucked up. We did it even nastier. Look at this. Teferi can cast sorceries at instant speed, and they're not even going to get an Atraxa. Wasted! Nice. Okay. I actually somehow feel good despite Reanimator firing on all cylinders. All right, play my land drop. Play Riddler, draw 2. Now I have a force available. I'm just going to plus Teferi again. I got 24 life points to get through here. I think I can figure it out. Reanimate. Do I want them reloading? What does that actually look like? I guess I would rather that just didn't happen. Yeah, hard cast force. And I'm going to get myself a Bertoncini Brainstorm here. Play Flooded Strand, draw 4, put 2 back. Fetch. Still got some basics in here. Attack with Riddler. They're at 20. I can't get to... Oh, I have fucking Consigned to Memory, bro. I have Consigned to Memory, bro. I was like, how do I want to use this other Riddler? I want to counter my Warp Trigger. That's what I want to do. End step, consign that, and pass. Uh-oh. Atrax is back, but I have many answers to that available. I mean, holding up consign would have countered that Animate Dead, so maybe I got a little greedy there. I'm willing to believe it. Scalding Tarn. They kept Tarn, Tamiyo, Force, Animate. All right. Tarn, Tamiyo. There's the Tarn and the Tamiyo. So they have Force of Will and Animate Dead in their hand. Caracas can control all of the things that they have. I'll clear Caracas first. I don't want that going on. Look at this. Look at this. Tamiyo, instantly flip it. All right, I'll play my Tamiyo. I will use Teferi to bounce your Tamiyo, which will draw me 3 cards, which will flip my Tamiyo instantaneously. And I found the main deck Containment Priest. This is so nasty when it's doing its job. I think there is 1 basic island left in my deck to fetch. I just drew the Tundra. And that let me play the whole turn cycle without tapping the Caracas, which I don't think they have any way to give haste or any such thing like that. So that probably doesn't matter. I guess flipping Tamiyo does matter. If they went Tamiyo Brainstorm, having the Caracas up matters there. And that was game 1. Now I'm bringing in a bunch of heat. Rip, Purge, Sanctifier. I don't love Back to Basics. Prismatic Ending's good versus Tamiyo. Consigned to Memory, not so hot. Minor Misstep doesn't have Entomb to counter anymore, but it still has Careful Study and Reanimate. I think that's still good enough. Stern Scolding hits Tamiyo in their deck, but only Tamiyo, and I think that's not good enough, certainly in the face of all these dope cards I'm bringing in. I should expect Barrowgoyfs out of my opponent. I don't love Force of Negation, even though this is more of a combo deck than it used to be, but they could pivot into more of a tempo deck than their main deck is. Dressing down the monsters on arrival matters, dressing down a Barrowgoyf for a good combat matters, but it's not huge, and it's not better than, like, Rest in Peace. I could go to 3 Swords to Plowshares, leave the endings in because they're good against front and back of Tamiyo. Like I said, I expect juke monsters, but I'm bringing millions of answers to those. Okay, let's go. This deck was built to beat Entomb Reanimator, or at least to respect it, and now they don't have that card. It's a 1-lander, but it's the type of 1-lander that I'm willing to hang my hat on. Catacombs. Tamiyo. Well, that's the one that my hand is not prepared for. Okay, I am more likely to fetch basic island this turn than basic plains. I think I will minor misstep a Brainstorm if they cast one, or a Careful Study. Definitely a Careful Study, but also a Brainstorm. And Phelia can flicker out backside Tamiyo. Rest in Peace can stop Tamiyo from doing buyback stuff. I'm not going to fight over a Ponder. That doesn't flip Tamiyo, and it doesn't Thoughtseize me. Thoughteize, Brainstorm, Careful Study are all cards I would minor misstep here. And if they just don't do any of that, if they just, like, land pass, or even better, miss their land and pass, I just won't fetch. Right now I've got a Brainstorm. Gives me a lot more options. I'm going to pass with interaction available this turn. And then if they don't do anything, I might test them with Phelia. So I'd really like to just brainstorm in the end step and develop my lands. But they missed their land drop after not shuffling Ponder last turn, so they obviously have stuff to do here. Minor misstep, your Thoughtseize handled. And now I could fetch Meticulous Archive, or I could just brainstorm on my turn. Ooh, okay, now I don't have to do anything. I could just cast Rest in Peace with 2 lands right now. That sounds pretty good. Basic Plains, Rip in Pieces. They have to interact with this if they can. This will at least get a Force of Will out of the grip. Force pitching TAMIYO, you got it. Because that turns off the Murktide, the Barrow-Goyf, and their entire plan A. Sometimes these decks have Show and Tell on the sideboard, sometimes they don't. The shell is still being figured out. When I played it, I liked having 4 Barrow-Goyfs and 2 Show and Tells. I don't like Show and Tell as a plan, because Barrow-Goyf and Show and Tell are kind of the same card. Disappointing. Well, this will flip TAMIYO. But I do have Surgical to fight possible reanimate stuff. We know their hand is all spells, because they haven't played a land for the entire game. TAMIYO plus a fetch. I prefer not to get Thoughtseized here. Reanimate. All right, do you have another Force blue card in your hand after testing you last turn with it? No, you have another Reanimate and a Daze. What's going on in this deck? 2 Bowmaster, no Barrow-Goyf. Interesting. Okay, so they didn't actually juke. Where'd the Murktide region from game 1 go? Did they juke even harder out of creatures rather than in? Am I just blind? I don't think I'm blind. All right, well, the Atraxas are out of their deck. They have a couple of Archons and some Bowmasters to win the game with. Daze is in the hand. That's good to know. I forgot to check for Wastelands. I am actually going to get the Meticulous Archive here, because if I hit a land for Teferi, that's pretty hype. All right, I'll take it. I will put that on top. And after saying that, do I actually want Teferi? No, I think Phelia plus Containment Priest is plenty good here. What would Teferi do? Teferi would bounce a Clue this turn, then leave my hand a little stinky. The best they could do is like Thoughtseize, though. No, it's Teferi. It's Teferi. This is functionally +2 cards, because I take one of their clues and I draw a card. And then if they minus TAMIYO on Thoughtseize and Thoughtseize me, I can brainstorm to hide the goods. This turns off the Daze in their hand. They probably have to minus TAMIYO for one of their cantrips to try to find anything to do here. If they draw exactly Orcish Bowmaster right now, that'll be a bummer. Land. I know about that one. All right, they're plussing TAMIYO. They're racing me to the roof. And that means Narset can turn off the other half of the thing they're trying to do. All right, do I want to stick Phelia plus Containment Priest this turn? I think yes. I think resounding yes. That can delete the TAMIYO permanently, because I flicker her out as a Planeswalker. She comes back as a creature and is just gone. And then I can also play Narset, lock out anything else good they might want to do. Left a card on top of the library. 1 unknown in the hand, but they did choose to draw it when they had the option. Cards that I think are good right now are Thoughtseize, maybe Orcish Bowmaster. Oh god. Oh my god, the old value reanimate. Not today, Satan. Right, opponent goes to 13 and does not get a Brazen Borrower. Bitter Triumph. Okay. So they probably kept that on top for Teferi. Alright, Containment Priest is dead. Phelia is the important card here. End step, Phelia. Go to my turn. Oh my god. Plus Teferi. Now my options are play Narset. Hope they can't kill Narset ever. But there's a Bitter Triumph in the graveyard. I could just flicker out TAMIYO and just not be worried about it. Oh wait, I have Swords of Plowshares in my hand. I'm not worried about it. All right, Narset, you're in here. Dig for a card. Celestial Purge, Ponder. Yeah, they're good. They're good. Nice. All right. Good to know this deck could still stuff Reanimator back into the can of worms it crawled out of. Onto the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in the final round. Positive record locked, playing for the bread and butter 4-1. I'm going to keep my hand. I'm going to hold up Stern Scolding. I'm just going to island pass. This Stern Scolding is sneaky good because obviously it counters TAMIYO, but it also counters Balustrade Spy or Thassa's Oracle. So this is one of the rare creature counter spells that actually plays in combo matchups as well. Opponent with Island Ponder Keep off a Flooded Strand. That's so sexy. I did not shuffle their Ponder. Minor misstep. Okay, now I have two things to do. I'm going to develop the Vista instead of the White Source. Things that my opponent might be on, Cephalid Breakfast, any kind of control deck. Could be the Mirror, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be minor misstepping Ponders when my opponent still has 5 cards in hand. That's like a late game play when I'm already ahead. Save that for clutch TAMIYOs or Thoughtseizes, or if they're suddenly pivot into Dark Ritual, I don't know. Interesting. I do actually want to put Teferi into play, but tapping out of this interaction is kind of sad. If they just put Show and Tell on this deck, I'm dead. Oh no, Hedge Maze? Okay, so not a lot of good outcomes for Hedge Maze here. Best case scenario, they're like Uro control. Worst case scenario, I'm dying to Omnitel immediately. Yep, just fucking dead with a handful of cards. All right, I mean, I don't even have something to put in here. Cooked, completely cooked. All right, yeah, I don't care. You win. Shit. Well, this is basically the Nightmare matchup. It is not that popular, but it is good that I'm able to showcase it in this league featuring this deck, because people like Show and Tell a lot more than they should in paper. It's just kind of a trend that I've noticed. And my experience playing this deck in paper was I was pretty good against Sneak and Show and horrendous versus Omni Show. And after that, showcase of cleanly 2-0ing Reanimator, feeling good about that, pairing into the Nightmare matchup to end the league makes some sense. I don't even really have stuff for this. And Swords of Plowshares got to come out. Though, Swords of Plowshares is interesting because I do play Dress Down, and these Omni Show decks are usually light on actual win conditions. Their goal is to stick Omniscience and then flip cards until they hit Emrakul and or Atraxa, and they sometimes have only one of each. And if I put in Show and Tell, or I put in Dress Down off Show and Tell, and then I plow Emrakul, they might actually struggle to win even if they're turning through their whole life. So maybe that's better than Prismatic Ending. Prismatic Ending can hit stuff like Carpet of Flowers, but Mana Denial isn't my plan anyway. I have the Desperation Surgical Extraction here. Like I said versus Doomsday, I don't generally think Surgical Extraction is good versus Show and Tell decks, but if you got to do what you got to do, then do it. Celestial Purge could hit in Atraxa, but I don't think this is Sneak Attack, though I don't actually know. A Consigned Memory could counter the extra turn trigger off of Emrakul. Like, it's not pretty. I'm just looking for anything that does anything here. All right. Yeah, this feels like I have almost nothing to add to my deck after sideboard, which is awful. All right. I will keep this hand. This one can at least develop TAMIYO and do stuff. I'm going to ponder first, though. I'd like to hit some land drops here. And land drops we did hit, including Caracas. All right, how do I sequence this? What happens if they shove turn 1 Show and Tell? Like, I want Caracas if they play Show and Tell on turn 1 or 2, but I don't want it if it happens any later than that. All right, I guess I put Caracas 3 down and just take the Tundra and represent it with, like, play TAMIYO with Consign or Minor Misstep. And now that I know the matchup, I would definitely Minor Misstep a Ponder, something I said I wasn't going to do. Oh god, do they have it? Carpet. Yep, there's Carpet. Like I said, Mana Denial isn't really my plan here, but I would have misstepped that if I had it. It didn't even make the mana. But now, oh god, this is so wretched. I guess I don't think I even have room for this TAMIYO. I could consign a Carpet trigger, but I think if I counter the first main phase one, they still get a second main phase one because it says if you haven't added mana with this ability. That's so nasty. All right, and now they could just like shove show and tell with backup. All right. God. I want to cast Containment Priest just in case they're raw dogging a monster here. But if I do that, then I can't actually put in Quantum Riddler. Does Quantum Riddler matter? This is so hopeless. I guess if they're going monster... All right. I will play the Priest and then decline Quantum Riddler. If they're going Omniscience, none of this matters because I know my top card is Caracas. All right, I'm not going to put anything in. All right, cool, dead. Cunning Wish. Firemind's Foresight. Oh, they're goofing. Let's go. I hope they kill me with Release the Ants. Ooh, Auroral Procession. I've not seen this in decks before. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. All right, yeah, that's a Firemind's Foresight again. Shared Summons gets Emrakul and Atraxa. They can just cast those. There's Atraxa. All right, we're good. We're good. We're good. Yeah, as good as I felt versus all of the decks that I'm built to play against, Omnishow feels unwinnable. Okay, here we are. A 3-2 record. Lost to a Doomsday player who made an awesome pile that beat like 4 different ways that I had to beat Thassa's Oracle. They just went with the Jace off of the Line Side Diamond. That was a really cool line I hadn't seen before. And then Omnishow, complete fucking nightmare. But then we played against a bunch of blue-black decks, which this deck is built to farm, and farm them it did. I don't think I am seriously considering this for the Eternal Weekends of Italy and Japan. I also don't know my release schedule yet. This might come out well after Italy and or Japan, or you might see it before. Literally don't know. But right now, when I'm recording it, it's mid-November. I leave for Italy in about 10 days. And I think I could safely put this one down. I do like the play patterns here. If we are confident in the metagame that is going to emerge, like if I was sure I was going to play against all tempo decks in Reanimator, I would sleeve this up, be happy about it, but people are going to bring stuff like show and tell. People are going to come up with clever Doomsday piles that my 4 pieces of interaction don't touch. I love this deck, love it for like FNM level play, playing leagues for fun. You'll probably win more than you lose, but I do not have faith in it right now to put the 9-1 record on the table that you need to top 8 Eternal Weekend. Ineffable, thanks for the chance to play this. Pokemoki, thanks for your continued work making decks that I love. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.